Wowzers. I can see 946 miles with these Vortex binoculars. You want a pair? I tell you what, we'll give you a pair. All you gotta do, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If you do that, you're liking our videos, you're commenting on our videos, we'll give away a pair. Get ready, guys. Vortex binocular giveaway coming soon. All right, guys, where to put those summer trail cameras? There's certain places that I think of that are pretty obvious. I'm still gonna talk about them, but there are certain places that are not so obvious that I think you should be putting some trail cameras. And I hate to say it, it's almost embarrassing to admit, but there's certain places that I've been skipping for a long time and in the recent years that I've picked up on. So before we get into that, you know how these videos go. I gotta hit a couple housekeeping notes before we get rolled into it. But first and foremost, we're booking clients right now. We're starting this summer to get ahead of the game. We booked up last year, so I'm trying to get, I'm trying to get ready to start booking more clients earlier in the year. So I'm getting everything out to you subscribers, the information and stuff like that. Head over to whitetaillandmanagementservices.com. Hit the contact tab. Send me an email. Let's figure out what you got going on your property. Let's learn about food plotting, how to plant, what to plant, when to plant. Tree stand locations, timber stand improvement, how to make money on your property, how to pull deer off your neighbor's property. Let's get that stuff figured out, get you on the calendar before we book up, guys. 2, eurooptic.com. Euro, like the word European, spell it like that. Eurooptic.com. Use code WLMSVTX10 for 10% off your purchase of Vortex optics. 10% goes a long way with some of those optics, guys. It's pretty insane. Otherwise, head over to vortexoptics.com. 2 different websites to get some of the sweet new apparel that they have. They just dropped some new stuff, and it's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. So with that being said, where should you be putting your summer trail cameras? And the first one I'm gonna bring up, you're a little bit late to the game if you didn't already put your trail cameras here, but you still have time. So when we drop this video, you're gonna be sitting in that, midsummer time frame still. So you do have time to get out there, push those deer around a little bit and not be too worried about you pressuring these deer too much regardless of your opener. I don't care if it's a September 1 opener, a 15th opener, October opener. Go out and get your camera on mineral if legal and possible in your area. The thing about putting, your cameras on mineral is you're gonna get a pretty consistent idea of what bucks are in your area. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm sometimes not overly strategic as to where I throw my mineral down. I'm just getting it out. I'm getting about 1 to 2 mineral spots per 40 acres. And at least lets me know what's going on in the area. In a perfect world, we can be a little bit more strategic with it, but at the same time, I'm not too worried about the summer pattern because I'm very rarely hunting them on the summer pattern unless I'm hunting in one of those states with the early opener. So with that being said, get your cameras on mineral, at least figure out what's in the area. And then there's other places that we can put those trail cameras, assuming you have a couple. And if you don't, there's gonna be a hierarchy here, probably more important as we go on, but to actually figure out movement and why deer are doing what they're doing. Although not super important in the summer, it's still maybe something to throw in the back of your head. And maybe you see them coming out of the same bedding area after they drop velvet and things like that. So one of the top places to put your cameras in the summer is obviously mineral. If you can get it on mineral, you're gonna know what's in the area. So after that, I'm thinking about putting my camera on soybeans or early season food sources, hay fields, clover fields, alfalfa fields, chicory, things like that, because they're super palatable food sources right now. They're constantly growing and constantly available to take browse pressure from these deer, and so they spend a lot of time out there, given this is the growing season. There's protein content in those food sources. Get it on the food source. Worst case scenario, get it on the food source that's attractive right now. If you can get it on the beans, once again, may or may not be useful, depending on when you planted your beans, when your opener is, and all these other things, or if it's an agriculture field, if it's going to get harvested. But once again, it's going to tell you what bucks are in the area and at least help you figure out, what bucks made it back this year, what bucks might stick around, especially into the early portions of the season, assuming that those beans do stay green. The third place that I would think about putting water in, some of you are going to laugh at me because you know how I feel about this topic, is maybe putting them on water. Okay, it's hot. Deer don't necessarily need, biologically, deer don't need to spend time drinking physical water. They get a lot of their water consumption just through natural browse, up to 80%, if not more of it through natural browse. So at the same time, you know, water is important to a certain extent. It's a place to probably have some action in the summer. Not overly important, not like my number one place to put it, but at the same time, still a good place to get a trail camera, better than just throwing it on a random tree. Get your cameras over some water, especially if it's in the shade or things like that. And now that I talk about shade, I'm actually going to throw another one on this list that I didn't even plan to. There's going to be a shaded side of the field on your field, stepping back one step to that soybean, to the soybeans. If you hang your cameras on the western side of the field, that's going to be the shaded side of the field first in the evenings, which means the deer are more likely to sit in the shade than in the sun. So to go back to that one, make sure you're putting your cameras on the western side there. The last one, and probably the most important one that I have been just kind of overlooking for years because I wasn't really thinking too much into it, because I wasn't worried about the summer pattern. But in reality, if I just leave my camera in this spot, it becomes a good fall pattern spot too. It's one of those things where if you're going far distances and you don't get to go to that property often, hanging your camera in this location is numero uno. This is number one. Find scrapes. Okay, and you're telling me, let's say you're new to the game and you kind of don't understand the concept of scrapes, and you're looking for the pawing of the ground, and you say, Brett, there's no scrapes open right now. Look for the small details. As you walk through the timber right now, you walk down the trails, you drive down the trails in the woods, you're on your piece of property, look at those licking branches. Look at the branches at about 6 feet at shoulder height, neck height to you, and you're gonna notice that trees that are growing leaves don't have leaves on some of those branches that are coming down onto these trail systems and things like that. Why is that? Because those deer are constantly, rubbing their glands and their noses and their faces on those branches and scent checking things. Deer hit scrapes all year long. They paw the ground, obviously, during certain portions of the year closer to the breeding season, but they're always using those scrapes. And if we find a line of scrapes, there's a chance we could trace it back to the bedding area. And I'm not a huge scrape hunter because they make so many, but this is a tactic that you could take into the early fall and even into the late season and leave your camera in one spot, one location. And if you can find that first scrape outside of the bedding area, that's how you kill bucks, and that's how I killed my Illinois buck this year. So those are the top places that I would be putting my summer trail cameras. So if you guys like these tips, you like these videos, like, comment, subscribe. You get entered in our giveaway, you win free stuff. This is a no-brainer, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next video.